What's up, guys? Welcome to Woody's MTG, where we're all about stacking racks, cracking packs, and dodging taxes, bro. We're out here paying bills with cardboard. This right here, rent, dude. Rent. Bills paid. Building that cardboard empire. Marcus Aurelius? Nah, you can call me Cardis Aurelius, dog. We out here stealing cards from little kids, flipping them on eBay, making our 20 bucks, that's 20 stacks right there, making that money. We talking about Washingtons, not Benjamins, bro. Alright, this is too stupid. Let's put on a real hat. There we go. So, what's going on with this One Piece thing, huh? Pretty crazy, man. Pretty crazy. I haven't decided if I want to make this a full market evaluation video looking at some card examples. I have some pulled up. I'm not sure if I want to do that yet. Or if I kind of just want to riff off the top, give my opinions, give some takes, because I have gotten into One Piece very recently, within the last few weeks, and oh, my hat's a little off. There we go. And it's crazy. The market's just crazy right now. So, sure enough, I started looking into things, and Pokemon is doing what Pokemon does. It's the new target for scalpers. Not new. It's the rehashed target for scalpers. So, I, of course, do what I always do, boot up some YouTube, look around, watch some videos, try to find some content, and maybe look at, hey, what are some good cards? What are some products to be looking at to buy right now? And almost every video I watch is just, and I don't mean any offense by this because I do love a lot of these creators. They put out great content, but they seem like they're coming from the Pokemon side. So the best way I can explain it is, One Piece is such a new TCG, more than likely, especially within content creation, this isn't their first TCG. They're going to be something / One Piece buyers, collectors, investors, players, whatever. And it feels to me that a lot of these content creators are Pokemon / One Piece. The issue with that is they are kind of applying Pokemon market principles to One Piece. And I don't think, personally, One Piece, the market will go the way of Pokemon. I think Pokemon is the only TCG that can do what Pokemon does. A lot of reasons for that, we'll get into that. I think the One Piece game itself is extremely fun, and I think that the market will not only will it, but it will have to adopt more of a player's market, something more akin to MTG, Magic the Gathering, which happens to be my strong suit. Like I said, a lot of reasons for that. Number one being, the Pokemon IP is kind of the only IP that can do what they do with their trading cards. Pokemon, if you didn't know this, is a video game. A video game a lot of kids grow up with and love to play. The tagline of Pokemon, the IP itself, not the TCG, the IP is gotta catch 'em all. That translates extremely well to the collector side of a card game, of a TCG, of a trading card game. Collectors who are getting into Pokemon want to catch them all. It's literally the tagline. Little kids, they grow up playing Pokemon, the video games, whether they're kids from the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, or now. Either way, these kids are going to grow up and they're going to want to catch them all. And then they're going to learn about the TCG at some point and be like, that's really cool. I can have a physical copy of my favorite Pokemon with awesome art. It's super shiny. It looks super cool. And then they find out that they're worth money. And they're like, that's freaking cool. And especially as those kids get older and become adults and start having adult money, that's where you get your collector base. That's where you get all this cash, all of this money piling into Pokemon. You get it from kids who grew up into adults that want to have these cards. That is why cards go up as they age in Pokemon. As far as I know, the playing scene of Pokemon TCG is like basically non-existent. I could be wrong about that. Don't, hate me for it. It's just my experience. It seems like there's just not really much of a player base to the actual game. It is much more leaning into the CCG side of things, the collectible card game side of things. So, when the Pokemon booms and then busts, there's 10-year-olds right now who aren't going to care. In 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, they're not going to care that the market boomed and busted. And also, Pokemon is such a huge IP that the manufacturer and the backers, the money behind it, the company, can handle boom-bust cycles. They're going to stay profitable. They're going to be making enough money from other avenues, their video games, their animes, their licensing for clothing and plushies and blankets and everything else. They're just not going to have as many cash flow constraints as maybe a smaller company would, or a smaller IP that's not as laterally and vertically integrated. So, again, when Pokemon booms, Pokemon's like, cool. When it busts, Pokemon's like, cool, doesn't really matter. Maybe they ramp up production, maybe they don't, they just wait it out. And either way, they know the cycle, they know things are going to go back to normal, and they also know that eventually it'll boom again, right? So yes, maybe they ramp up production, maybe they don't, maybe they just wait it out, because if they start ramping up and investing and ramping up production too heavily and then it busts and no one's buying it and they have all this excess stock, it's not good for them. They also have more experience, having been around for that long, to be able to read those types of things, not overextend and not bankrupt themselves during a boom cycle. One Piece doesn't really have any of that. It is a very recognizable IP, very popular IP. But the tagline's not "gotta catch all the pirates." It's just not. It's not. And I'm not here to naysay collecting One Piece. I am specifically, these are my cards. These are real cards. Where'd they go? Did I drop one? Oh, I dropped a few. I'm buying One Piece. There, can you see it? I don't know. These cards are gorgeous, by the way. Like, really, really beautiful. But I am buying One Piece. It's just not the cards I see in all these top 10s. And like all of these top 10s, all of these discussions about the One Piece market, all of these videos about what to collect, where to buy, what to do, except for one guy. I think it's TCG Monkey. That dude's on point. That dude is putting out great content that I agree with, that I align with very much. He has a lot of, from just some comments and discussions in the comments, seems like he has the same mindset I do, where, hey, this is a boom, it's probably going to bust. Let's not spend $14,000 on one copy of one card and watch it tank to $7,000, right? Not saying that that's going to happen. I'm just saying there is a lot of risk in the market right now due to the Pokemon boom and a lot of the One Piece pricing, a lot of the One Piece skyrocketing the way it has, looking at charts, looking at price histories, looking at sales volumes, through what marketplaces those cards are selling. A lot of that's driven by this boom in Pokemon. And unfortunately, what that means is a lot of people that are buying these cards are buying them to flip them. They're buying them to immediately put them back on the market. They're looking at like 1 to 12 month time horizon, buy the lowest listed, relisted immediately at the middle ground, and they're selling to each other. When they do that, it sounds crazy, but it's true. A lot of these guys, they go in, find the lowest listed, buy it, relist it at like medium or high, and then as all the other flippers and scalpers and just those, again, I'm not trying to be derogatory here. I obviously collect like a bunch. I run a TCG player store. I flip cards. I invest. Like, it's, I'm not trying to be derogatory, but there's specific types of people who do those things, and there's delineations between them. Anyways, these people are going in, buying the lowest listed, relisting it at the top, and then guess what? The next guy with that same mindset buys the lowest listed, relists it at the top. Next guy does the same thing. Eventually, through that stacking pattern, guy A, who bought it down here and relisted up here, he just gets bought by guy B, right? And that's what keeps this going. Eventually, though, people are going to run into cash flow issues. They are going to need money to pay their bills, to keep the lights on. I mean, electricity is going to be going up here very shortly with all the world events going on, if it hasn't already for you. If it has, sorry. And gas is also going absolutely insane. So people are going to start hitting cash flow restrictions. They're going to need money, not just for bills and necessities. They're also going to need money for emergencies. They're also going to need money for the next big thing. They're going to want to cash out. Hype's going to move. It's going to move to sneakers. It's going to move to designer clothes. It's going to move to a new line of guitars. Where is it? Why am I like backwards? There we go. Bam. A new line of guitars. Because believe it or not, guitars are kind of a collectible item. There's a lot of like limited release guitars and things like that. Anyways, some new hype thing's gonna happen. They're gonna see a higher ROI there, and they're just gonna be looking to liquidate, just cash out. They might even be willing to take a loss if they think that, one, they need the money. They'll definitely be willing to take a loss. Or if they think the ROI going into something else is going to be really high, they'll take a loss, right? They just want to get into this other thing, get into it now, gotta buy. And that's how we start to see the market decline. Or eventually these cards get bought up by collectors, actual people who enjoy the game, who want to hold on to these pieces, and then that card just gets removed from inventory permanently. And again, the market starts to stabilize. There is only so much market capital that is going to go into this, and eventually things will stabilize. More than likely start to retrace and normalize and go back down. It's just what happens every time. Again, I cannot stress this enough, especially given the fact that this is because of a Pokemon boom. This is what happens with Pokemon every time. It is hype. It's all fueled by hype. It's all fueled by scalpers. It's all fueled by 35-year-old balding virgins going into Costco and literally beating each other up and punching single bombs in the face to grab a freaking one little box of these Pokemon cards. Bro, I gotta get these Pokemon cards. And it's just not gonna last. These people are... The scalpers are professional scalpers. They're not professional Pokemon flippers or TCG investors, collectors, flippers. They're scalpers. These guys are the types who go and run bot farms for concert tickets. These guys are the ones who go into Coach. Apparently Coach did some Valentine's Day pink bag, and it was like crazy. People were like fighting each other for this freaking purse. These are the professional scalpers that are currently in the Pokemon market. As soon as that hype just starts to come down, to the first ones out. They're out, and then all that capital that they're putting in goes out with them. So, a lot of things to be cautious of. I would not be buying these high ticket One Piece cards, personally. It's not where I'm going to put my money. I could look, I mean, if you look up in the case there, those aren't even like high value cards. Well, they are, but like that's not a case for high value cards. It's just my favorite cards. Like that white card right there is literally a print. That's a print error from Magic the Gathering. It's just blank. Up there at the top is a alpha cut Sarah Angel. They're extremely rare and hard to comp. There's Mother of Goons that my fiance got me, and like Wet Willy or something that my fiance got me because they're just funny. And then moral of the story though is there is an Underground Sea and a Mox Diamond right there. And again, that's not a case for money purposes. It's just cool cards I really like. I could easily sell stuff here, and not a lot of the stuff you see, but there's a lot of other stuff I could sell and very easily buy into, even like the OPO5, Gear 5, Manga Luffy, or in a sealed box of OPO5, and I just don't think it's a good idea. I don't. So that was kind of the moral of this story. Like I said, debating. I do have some cards pulled up here so we can kind of explore ideas and actually see it. But maybe I'll just save that for another video if that's something you guys would like to see. Actually, some price histories, some picks, some examples from Magic the Gathering. Because what I am doing, like I said, you can see here, is looking for sleeper hits. There we go. First of all, this thing has like an insane PSA multiplier. What is up with that? Like this card raw right here in near mint condition is like $4. A PSA 10's like 90. I'm not gonna send it off to PSA and waste my time. That's not why I got this card. Because I just don't see that sticking, especially on a card that's $4. Like super easy to scoop up 100, fucking 1,000 of them, buy out the entire market and send them all to PSA. Like kind of weird. But these are the types of things I'm looking at. You know, your $1 to $10 card range. These are just some that have come in within the last couple days that I think are kind of sleepers, that I think have a lot of room for growth just on the collecting side. I haven't gotten enough into the game to understand the mechanics and start looking at mechanically game important pieces. But even just from the collecting side, a lot of these promos, a lot of stuff that's maybe a little bit less likely to be reprinted, because that is a huge concern I have as well with the manga cards. Because just hypothetically speaking, what we saw with Magic, if you know anything about Magic Gathering, the title of this video is going to have probably something about One Piece in it, but this is a Magic the Gathering channel for the most part. I'm thinking about just switching to TCGs in general because I don't like what Magic's doing right now. Anyways, if you know anything about Magic, you might know something about Magic 30, where Wizards of the Coast decided to reprint in a non-tournament legal format, but regardless, reserve list cards, which caused even the reserve list to tank like crazy. And I mean, we are talking, you know what, let's just switch it to the desktop. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Now, I'm not going to get into everything today, but let's just have this pulled up so we can at least discuss kind of what I'm talking about here. So, look at this. This was the Pokemon hype of the COVID boom. So this is like a $3,000-$4,000 card. This has been, this is a grail. This is definitely a grail for Magic the Gathering. It was made in 1993, I believe, was the most recent printing, and of a tournament legal version, and it's on the reserve list. It cannot be reprinted. There are not many of these. PSA 10 pop is 13. So yeah, 93. This is the white border. This isn't even the crazy expensive black border version from Alpha or Beta, which are just insane amounts of money. I don't even know. The PSA 10 pop on the black border ones is probably like $3. Anyways, we have a total PSA pop of 182, PSA 10 pop of 13. So just so you can have some metrics there. Anyways, very pricey card. And we saw it boom, just absolutely boom during that COVID bubble. And this, these high price cards are way more likely to hold price memory. So this did not crash as bad as some of these cards did after this boom. However, it did, tank. And then what happened? It was 2023. Magic Gathering's 30th anniversary got announced, which was $1,000 buy direct from the manufacturer, so kind of like a premium Bandai product where you can actually order it from the manufacturer. $1,000 booster pack that maybe had one of these in it. It could have a whole slew of cards. Here you can see the 30th anniversary set, 30th anniversary edition. There was also 2 different frames. You can see how expensive that is. It's just crazy. So here you can see your alpha and beta collector's edition is something totally different, not tournament legal. Neither of these, but still. Anyways, that got announced. Again, a $1,000 booster pack. It was a booster pack, randomized cards. This would have been a very rare hit from it, like extremely hard to pull. And it tanked from about $8,000 to about $5,500. Nearly overnight. Like if we really zoom this in, you can literally see October 2nd. By October 9th, within a week, it lost $2,000. Another week later, it lost another $1,000 of value. And it's kind of been, coasting there ever since. There was maybe a market buyout, some market manipulation, and then it's just kept falling since. I actually think this is actually a pretty good time to pick one of these up, by the way. Just random side note, like MP for $1,400. This is bidding, but still. Best offer, HP. These are actually a pretty good time to pick these up, man. Played $4,000. Anyways, so you see what can happen here, because this is a huge concern of mine with One Piece. What if Bandai just decides they want to do something like this? 10th anniversary. Hey, we made it to a decade. We're going to print a booster, but we're going to sell a booster pack. And it can be $1,000 booster pack. And it's just all secret rares and manga rares, or all parallels and mangas. You get one manga guaranteed. It's not good. It would be not. There's a lot of people who, that's $4,000, $8,000. So if you had like 3 copies of this, you lost like $12,000 in value. It just evaporated. Granted, a lot of people who are buying this aren't buying it to flip it at all. They're buying it to have it and enjoy it as a grail item, as a collector's item that is 30 years old. It's a little bit more tried and true and tested in the market. But that's, the kind of thing I would avoid. I would be looking at stuff, that again are in the $1 range to $5 range to maybe $30. There's a Luffy, the ODa-illustrated Luffy is like $30 or $40. It's crazy. Like, I'm not talking about the stamped signature. I'm talking about just the regular copy. Just the regular copy. It's like 30 or $40. To me, that's super undervalued. It's a card illustrated by Oda. Even if the TCG fails, crumbles, dies, is gone in 5 years, which I don't think it will be, but still, if it is, if it doesn't survive this boom-bust cycle, an Oda-illustrated Monkey D. Luffy TCG card is just going to retain its value. It's just going to, as just a collector's item. And it honestly might get even more expensive if the TCG completely dies, because then there's no chance of a reprint and no further cards that ODa would illustrate. So it'd be like one of two cards that ODa illustrated or something like that. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities in this market. You just have to be looking where other people are not. The things that everyone's looking at them. The opportunity is known. When an opportunity is known, that's not where you make the money. When you're right here on this graph, right here or something on this graph, that's not where you make this money. Right here is where you would have made the money, right? And then you sell right here. And that way you're not riding this whole freaking thing out. Or if you're looking at buying long-term, you look at your long-term, again, if you bought back here in 2020, $2,600, sick. It's doubled in price since then, right? But you don't buy during these periods. This is where the opportunity is known. There's more capital flooding into it, and it's just not sustainable. The market cap, if you want to call it that, for Magic the Gathering is probably like 10 times the market cap for the One Piece TCG, and this still happens, even in a higher market cap, more stable market. Again, if you were looking at this here when no one was looking at it, yeah, you're good to go. Once everyone's looking at it, that's after this part has happened. That's after this part here. And that's where a lot of these cards are at with One Piece, is right here. And yeah, you can go through any number of these charts for Magic the Gathering cards after a spike like this. At best, it, retraces and normalizes. But again, at worst, you buy here, and you're stuck, 2021? You're stuck down here until 2025, right? And again, if you're buying these as a collector, simply to collect them, add them to your personal collection, and you're never going to sell, you have no plans to sell, you don't care if that thing goes to zero, you just want it, and you think the price is right, it's a price you're willing to pay, even knowing that it could go to zero, then buy it, by all means. Mainly what I'm referring to is that I keep seeing these videos of top 10 cards to buy right now in One Piece. And it's like, ooh, I have seen this happen on smaller scales. Even right here, right? Right here. Again, much smaller scale, but I have seen this happen one too many times to recommend someone buying a card when your graph, this is like what the graph looks like of the One Piece, right? It's like huge spike, retrace, huge spike, retrace, and we're kind of right here right now in the market where things seem like they're settling for a few months. This is from February to April, so 2 months. It's even, that's funny, it's even about the same time of year, right? You'll notice that too because of tax returns. Anyways, when this is your graph and then you just fast forward, now this is a graph I'd buy at, right? And look what happens right after that. Boom. So it's really just a word of caution. Just kind of a market evaluation, my thoughts on the market, my thoughts on if you're looking to buy into One Piece, if you're looking to park some money in a TCG. One, I think Magic's actually in a great place right now. It's not being affected by this boom because One Piece is. I think the Pokemon Scalpers learned their lesson getting burned on Magic last time, even though they're still back for Pokemon and they also got burned in Pokemon. Besides the point. And they're on One Piece now. That's the new hype thing. I think there was also Logan Paul or something did something to hype up One Piece or whatever. And Magic is not. This card doesn't show that. This card is spiking for a whole different reason. But it's just totally different reason. It's to do with a new format being introduced, player-driven format. So there's like a playability spike. It's probably going to come back down. I would say the same thing about this card right now. I would not be buying this card right now. I have a lot of them, but I'm also not selling them because I plan on just holding on to them. I play with them in my decks. So, where's I going with that? Oh, yeah. So, again, when it comes to parking your money in something, for the most part, there are a lot of good sealed Magic the Gathering product opportunities. There's a new TCG called Cyberpunk TCG. That's interesting. Something to look at. And then there are also great pickups in this like $5 to $10 range, right? That again, I'm picking up. I'm literally putting my money where my mouth is. I'm not pulling it up on eBay and showing you I have the card. And I have more coming in the mail. So all in all, to kind of wrap this up, just be wary, be cautious. I do think the market's at all-time highs right now. It's in a bubble. Things will normalize or retrace. Yes, they could continue to spike. Just looking at what's going on in the One Piece market, it seems like things have stabilized. So you're much more likely to either see this stabilization ride out, you're getting into one of these periods, and it's going to have its fluctuations, but it's mostly stable, or it's going to be this period and it's going to be crashing soon. So I don't think you should sell necessarily right now. I would be probably just holding my cards because there is so much potential upside, especially, it's such a new game. But I definitely would not be buying. I would not be buying these manga cards. I would not be buying these really high-end sealed boxes. The only exception would maybe be OPO1 Blue Bottoms, just because it is a first print, right? And I don't even know if do Alpha. Is there even like a single booster box? Do these even exist anymore? Was there even booster boxes for Alpha? I don't think so. I think they're just packs. That's revised. That's unlimited. Okay, this is a starter deck. It's 200 grand. Arabian Nights revised. Yeah, you might be really hard pressed to even. I don't even know if there are. Yeah, I really do. An empty booster box is $2 grand empty. I really don't even know if you can find these. Anyways, so as you can see, a $200,000 starter deck, right? So I do think that might be the exception. That is something that I would pretty much always be willing to buy. But looking at other sets, the prices in the market right now are just not sustainable. They will might not come down, but they'll at least stabilize. I would at least wait for stabilization, a solid month of just kind of, not even a month, honestly. I'd wait for a whole quarter, 3 months of just like solid price stabilization, maybe on a downward trend before buying in. Because as long as you buy on a downward trend, you will eventually win out, right? And that's kind of the name of the game here, is don't be worrying about quick flips. Those are extremely hard and extremely rare. I always say the most reliable get-rich-quick scheme is get-rich-slow. Just buy it, wait until it's on a downward trend for, look at this. This was from April, and it finally bottomed in December. So, I mean, you had an 8-month downward trend window here to buy. And then, again, so from, where is it? April 2022. Oh, I'm sorry. That was a 1.5 year downward trend. So, if you had waited 7 months, of downward trend, you'd be in a pretty good spot. Yeah, you'd see it continue to fall, but it very quickly recovered from there. Those are the kinds of times that you want to be looking at buying these big ticket items. Again, when you're looking at it strictly from a financial perspective. So that's pretty much all I got today. If you guys want to see, maybe some picks, if you want to see what I think about certain cards or what I'm literally picking up, why I'm picking them up, what types of methodologies or trends I'm looking for personally before putting money into something, or just anything like that, let me know down in the comments below. If you could hit the like button and subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. If this was of any value to you, just let me know. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, throw in a comment. Let me know what you'd like to see from me in the future. More than happy to go over some random, just as a little preview, we've got Slicer here, we've got Blade Historian. These are 50-cent cards that I picked up a bunch of. They're up to $10. This was a 50-cent card that's up to $6. I'm pretty decent, at least in MTG, picking out a lot of these cards for playability and how unique they are. And I mean, this is just your standard rare non-foil, and you got a 10x return over the course of 5 years, right? Which to some people might not sound impressive. Just imagine you put $1,000 in, 5 years later you get $10,000 out. That's pretty impressive in my opinion. So yeah, anyways, appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I will catch you next time.